Fridays at Crunch Gym. Today, it's leg day. So it's my favourite day of the week. I love training legs, it's hard work. Lots of people don't, but they're pussies. So we're going to train legs. We're going to start off with a girly exercise actually. This is lunge. Now the lunges, most people shy away from, especially men. Women like to do it because it builds up, tones the backside. We're doing it to really warm up the joints, the knees, the quads and the glutes. We're going to do high reps, 20 reps, just 2 sets, just to get the blood flowing through the legs and make sure all the joints are nice and supple and stretched out. We'll be stretching in between these exercises in order to go on the heavy sets which follow this, which will be squats. So don't shy away from these. Contest time, they're awesome, but I would work harder and go to failure. Today we're just using them as a warm-up. I've only got a little bit of weight on there today. And what I would say is, try and train your legs as often as they recover. And you know, you want to be able to go that extra mile when you do legs, and people don't, and that's why their legs don't grow. Because you're on your feet all day, you walk around all day, they've got loads of endurance, so when you hit that number in your head, whether it be 10, 12, 15, whatever, I'm sure there's 5 or 6 more reps in you. And find that eye of the tiger and try and push through that, and that will make your legs grow. See, I just can't get the start. Film this shit. Film this shit. So I've got a training partner, so let's load it up, put the tent back on. Let's start with this as well. Don't go around in circles.
I'm going to edit that bit out.
No, that adds to the realism of the white button. There we go, 20 reps done. Gets you right out of breath. Just like to point out my great tanning sponsors, which I've ripped already, Nicola. But A1 Tanning, if you do competition tans, go to them. So, done warm-up set there of squats. Now this exercise is probably the daddy of all exercises I think in the gym, so I would commit a fair bit of time to my workout doing this. Now I'm on my post-show phase of training. I'm looking at just working the strength side of the squat, so looking at 4 or 5 reps, and I'm going to do 4 or 5 sets of that. Trying to increase the weight and beat what I've recorded from the previous week. So we're going up to somewhere like 5 plates a side, around that mark. A tip I've got here is increase the weight really small. So if you put like little kilos on or 2 kilos that you can cope with, the following week you can add another kilo or 2 kilos and so on. If you jump straight on and throw 10 kilos on to when you're near your best weight you can handle, you'll be stuck on that extra 10 kilos for a long time before, and maybe you can get past that. So small and often is definitely the way to do it. And a way to think around that is put that 1 or 2 kilos on the bar before you even load the big weights on. So we're going to strip this down in a minute, put some small plates in first, which you don't really recognise or relate to once you're doing your heavy sets. back door goes a little bit without a spotter, but good. I can do that a little bit more in the next set. Come on. Yeah, good spot. On spot. Yep, easy way. Up. Ah, here we go. Yep, yep, yep. Up one. Yep. Up. Yep. Up. Super. Yep. Here we go. Super. Right. Alright, so we just squatted there, and there's heavy sort of strength building exercise where we're doing the reps, 4 reps, so 5 sets of 4 reps we've done here. Here we're flipping on its head. So we're going high reps now, 20 reps to start with, and we're not going to get lower really than sort of 12 or so. Now, what we're doing that is so we've looked at building some strength, and now we're going to focus on really contracting hard the muscles. So it's all the way down deep, deep, deep. People shallow out on this, so we're not just flexing the knees, we're trying to extend so the legs hit your stomach. You've got a big belly like my good friend Robbie, his reps are a lot shorter than mine. But when you're dieting, and you're dieted down, you've got a nice flat stomach, they're even deeper. So if you have that problem, then open your legs wide so it goes around the girth. So what we're going to do here is 20 reps, and we're going to squeeze the rep at the top of each movement. That doesn't mean locking the knee out, do not lock the knee out. If you lock your knee out with a decent amount of weight on, you're soon going to get knee problems. So we're going to squeeze just short of contraction. And if you look at my range on here, you'll see that I pause for about a second at the bottom, so there's a dead stop before I drive up, and again a little dead stop for half a second or so while you contract and squeeze the muscle. So slowly down like the squat, 3 seconds, drive up as hard as you can, squeeze at the top, do not lock out. So it's quite a hard first set, but we've already done lunges and we've already squatted, and if you're not warm enough now, you're not really going to be. So don't waste energy doing unneedless light warm-ups. Let's just get to some working weight and go from there. So that was a good 20 rep set. Here we go. Strong, strong, strong. Strong, strong. Good. Right. Yes. Sure. So we're going to individualise now each leg with a single leg extension. So this will really help you notice if you've got any imbalances with your strength. One side will be stronger, do more reps than the other, or feel easier. So if that is the case, look at doing some single stuff, like single leg squats, or single leg presses in order to counter that balance off. Mine are fairly similar, And what we're going to do is we're going to look at 12 to 15 reps. So we're squeezing up hard at the top, then all the way down. Not bouncing off the machine at the bottom. Now that's critical because A, you're going to sort of aggravate your joints doing that. Break my machine, which isn't good. But more than anything, you're going to take the load off the muscle. So this is an isolating exercise. You know, if you're going to leave one exercise out, it would be this. Don't ever leave out the squats, in my opinion. So we're going to use this as a finishing exercise for quads before we go on to hamstrings. So a little tip I use on here to isolate the area that you want to work on the quad is if you lean the seat really far back so your leg back, you're almost stretching to reach your leg onto the pad. It will work, bring the load higher up your quad, it brings it up towards your groin. Now, for my physique, I'm very quad dominant on the teardrop, so that's either side of the knee is very well developed. But I'd like more development at the top, so that's how I would sit. If you want more teardrop development, I'd sit more upright, so the emphasis shifts due to your lever shifting, and it moves closer to your teardrop, which is this part here. And I'm leaning back to bring the load down here. You'll feel it if you do the exercise, you'll feel it either engage more to the lower or the top part of your leg. So now my legs are tired, I admit. And when you use these hammer strength single legs, they're very heavy loaded. So it's not like a cable, you can always squeeze an extra one or so out. When it goes on here, they're gone. But that's where we want to be. Don't be afraid to fail in the gym, because failure will translate into more muscle growth. Moving on to the lion leg curl, which I think is probably the toughest leg curl out of all the choices in the gym. The problem people have on here is they lift their ass or their hips up and off the pad, which allows them to contract the hamstring a lot less. Actually, they engage their calves in doing so in order to bring the foot pad up towards their backside. So the machine still moves up and down, the hamstrings engage loads less. So I actually picked this tip up off an old friend of mine, who's a pro bodybuilder, Eddie Abu, which I used to train with years ago. But I've always stuck to it, and you know, he knew what he was talking about then. He's slightly mad, but he still knows what he's talking about today. Now, what he told me and I do, and I trust all you'll try at home, is when you bring the pad up, think about pushing your hips into the pad. So as you're bringing your feet up towards your bum, try and stick your hips down. Now, an easy way to make that feel more comfortable is for rather than you lie flat on the body support and hold on to the bench underneath. Stay up on your elbows. If you stay up on your elbows, it allows you to tilt your hips forward a lot easier as you bring your hamstrings into play. So by doing that and feeling like you're thrusting towards the pad, as you bring your feet up behind you, you'll feel your hamstrings fully engaged. Now we can take that one step further, and then when you get to the very top of the movement, try and lift your knees up an inch or half an inch off the pad. So you're trying to push your knees higher. That engages really hard and tight. So think about them movements when you're doing it. Don't just load, and lift your hips up in order to move the machine around, because you won't engage your hamstring. Now, a lot of these machines, they're plate loaded and they go up in 5 or 10 kilos depending on the equipment. So if you want to jump up a little bit of weight and the next weight's too heavy and you are shifting into using your hips, use these little plates that are in the gym. So I'm going to use a 2.5 today to add on to the weight stack. So it just takes it up half the amount, but you can add 1 kilos or even less. The big principle is that we overload, so use use more than you used last week or the week before and you will improve. So the easy way of doing that is just hang it onto the pin. The pin's locked in, that won't go anywhere, straight up and down. We're not going to touch a stack, we're going to stop just short of that, but get a full stretch and a second contraction at the top as you try and lift your knees off the pad that half an inch or so. So every one of them reps, especially at the top where I'm trying to lift the knees up. So it's hard to think about what you're doing, as opposed to just moving the weight back and forth, but at least try. It really will help you engage that mind-muscle connection. So another way to explain or how to think about contracting your hamstring is, if you think about your leg and your hamstring being your leg bicep, like on your arm bicep. Now everyone knows how to pull their peak up and squeeze hard. And when it's inflated and contracted, you can squeeze it harder. It was like born into you to do that. Now you need to think the same way about your hamstring. So you curl that footrest up towards your backside, which is like this part of the movement, and then try and squeeze that hamstring as hard as you can by lifting the knee up slightly. You're trying to lift up as high as you can get it, but trust me, the weight won't allow it. But maybe that half an inch movement will make that contraction so much more intense and much more severe, that you'll feel your hamstrings cramp up sometimes. Now that's because they've never been flexed hard enough. If you do that, you'll get good hamstring development, because a lot of the time it's lost. Because your hamstrings are behind your body, you can't see them contract. You have to go by feel and think about what you're doing. That's an easy way I could explain to do it. So try that, try and really squeeze. Imagine someone's put an apple behind your knee and you're trying to break it, so, you know, with the leg curl movement. Think of it something like that, and you'll really get a good contraction. so we're going to move on to calves now, and then we're going to finish off with a stiff leg deadlift for hamstrings. Now there's a couple of reasons why I do that. You don't have to do it last, but it does sort of interfere with the rest of the workout. It's a very taxing, tiring exercise, a stiff leg, and also can, you know, like really tire your lower back out and leave you feeling like you don't want to carry on your workout if you've got something else to do. And in this case I do calves as well, so it's a full leg day. So there's two ways to train calves, where you can do it with a straight leg or you can do it with a bent knee, and that's pretty much that. There is none of this fucking turning in and out the footworks, different parts of your calf bullshit. Don't believe it. What I do believe is that you should push over your big toe. So imagine that's my foot, the big toe being my thumb. All the weight should be on the big toe. When you come up, when you come down. Big stretch, hold the stretch, come up, contract hard, all the weight on the big toe. Now that will really engage your calf, and what people do is it gets tough, it gets hard, the exercise, so they roll out on the outside of their toes. And what that allows is the machine will still move up and down, so you feel like you're completing your set, but you won't be contracting your calf. So the way I feel is easiest, but you may find another way, is turn your feet slightly inwards, just so the emphasis is more drawn towards the big toe when you push down and push up. Now remember, we're walking around all day and we come up on our toes all day long. What we don't do is go down with a weighted stretch at all through a day-to-day activity. So when you do the calf, don't be afraid to hold the stretch for a few seconds on a pause, fully stretched, before you contract again. Lots of people just do this short contracting movement and complain they've got no calves. So let's work the full range of the movement. So 15 reps, 20 reps, somewhere around there is what you want to be aiming at. You can even go lower, but you want to be failing at that number and going very, very heavy for you in that rep range. Calf exercise is a seated calf raise, so this is the bent knee calf exercise. There's only really this option you can do. If you haven't got one of these in your gym, you can put a bench underneath a Smith machine, a couple of plates under your toes, and you can sit on the bench and rest the bar of the Smith machine on your knees. Put a pad on it because otherwise it'll dig in, and it mimics this, but if you've got one of these it's obviously far better, so it's designed for the movement. And this works as soleus, which is the outer part of your calf. It works this bit down the side, which is about a third of your overall calf size. So if you want a bigger calf and you've only got one choice of exercise or a small amount of time to do it, I would stick with a straight leg. We've done a rotary calf raise or a toe press, but you can do a standing calf raise. If you haven't got that in your gym, then again you could do it on a Smith machine or find another gym that's got some decent equipment.
these.
Oh, mama. Now that burns like shit. So small drops, because you don't want to do thousands of reps. You're looking at like 4 or 5 reps between each drop. So it adds up to about 30 reps or 35 reps total. When you can finish weight with getting 10 reps or more, a weight's a bit too light there, so you need to adjust your drops accordingly.